What if, guys? It's me back for another what if. So, today's what if is gonna be what if Naruto's family was bad. Right. Before we get into the video, you know the drill. Take a sip of water. So, this is how it's gonna go. So, we start at the QB attack. So, I don't know how, but Minato survives the attack, and so does Kushina. Kushina has 15% of the QB's chakra placed within her, placed back within her. Naruto is going to be one of 3 triplets. His brother, Aki, his sister, Miku, are both going to have 15%. Naruto is going to have 55%. So, after this, it's going to... Yeah. And his, and Minato is going to physically and verbally abuse Naruto, while his mom and siblings are going to verbally assault him. And Naruto's gonna be the only one with whiskers. So, but here's the thing. Everyone thinks that the Nine Tails chakra is distributed evenly. Like, they all think they have the same amount. But they don't. Because Kurama's like, hey, they're trying to split me up. How about I just try and get... So I'm just gonna say, okay, I gotta make it not suspicious, but I'm just gonna let these 3 have 15%, and the rest is gonna go to this kid, along with my soul. Because Naruto's gonna have the soul. So, the story truly begins at age 6. Anniversary of the Nine Tails attack. Or defeat. And villagers are gonna chase after Naruto and try to hurt him really, really badly. Like, worse than usual. And then Naruto's gonna run down an alley. He's always been pretty clever. So he's like he is a very clever person. You could say he is clever as a fox. So, he's gonna run down an alley, and he's gonna parkour up the side of it. Cause he learned parkour, and he parkours up the side of the building, and two genin are gonna walk up, or are gonna keep chasing after Naruto. They're gonna eventually catch up to him, and they're gonna grab him and throw him down to an alley that they were hopping over. And then they're gonna jump down, and they're gonna start beating on Naruto. They don't, and that's gonna happen. So Naruto is gonna be left with bruises. But then a Hyuga walks by. Not sure why. Maybe they were going back to the compound after receiving orders, or coming back after a mission. Not important. She's like, ooh, the demon. And he just runs up and helps these other other two genin with it. This isn't Neji. Neji thinks this is below him. He's not going to help nor hurt Naruto. So after that, like, he closes a few of the chakra points, and then he's like, this is boring, and he leaves. Like, Naruto, he just stopped screaming and begging, and he's just, like, has anger in his eyes. Like, if looks could kill, everyone within 50 feet would have melted. That's about what this looks like. Yeah. Like, Ark of the Covenant kind of stuff from Indiana Jones. Like, that's, So after that, Naruto is gonna... So after that, the Genin also think it's not fun anymore. So they stop beating on him. So, yeah. So, yeah. After that, I'd say that So, yeah, after that, Naruto winds up in his mindscape. And he walks up to a giant cage. Where am I? Naruto says. Kid. I'm sorry. I am the reason they hate you. Naruto just takes a step back. Who's there? And two giant red slit eyes appear on the other side of the cage. But they didn't look angry or anything. They looked sad. And, after that, tell you what, kid, I'll help you become strong so that they don't beat on you anymore. Sound good? Just, but I don't want to hurt any of them. Kurama says, you won't have to. From what I'm gonna teach you, I will teach you lethal techniques, but I will mostly be teaching you non-lethal, such as a few medical techniques I learned that short circuit the nervous system, essentially paralyzing, making it extremely difficult for someone to do anything for about an hour. So much as standing creates strain. And moving one muscle, if you try to lift your leg, your right leg, your left arm will move. If you try to move your right arm, your left leg will move. And so on. Try to turn your head left, it turns right. Try to punch. Instead of punching, you move your fist back. Instead of moving your fist back, you punch. It's essentially like that. And that will make it extremely difficult for them to follow you. I think we should start with that. And your speed as well, as it needs work. You can talk to me anytime. Well, almost anytime. So, just remember, I'll be here for you. And, okay. And Naruto fades out of his mindscape because he. And then a second later, still in the mindscape, Kurama says, "Nice kid." And then Naruto, So then, yeah, after that, Naruto's gonna be able to get home, quote unquote home. It's more like he's barely allowed. He's the only place he's allowed to be in the house is the hallway, his room, and the dining room during dinner, lunch, and supper. Other than that, he's not allowed. He has to stay outside. So, yeah. So he just sits down in his room which is more of a large closet than a room. It has a little, has an air mattress in it and a fan, just a little plug-in fan to keep them cool during the summer. The Naruto had to buy the fan himself, and he kind of has to, hide it he kind of has to hide it so it won't get taken away from him. Okay, I am back. Had to do something real quick. So, what if Naruto's family was back? Where was I? Oh, yeah. So, yeah, he had that just a little fan and mattress in essentially just a large walk-in closet. That's about the size. Yeah, a walk-in closet is what he lives in. That's his room. Just. So, yeah, it has a little fan. You know. And I'm gonna. No. Save that for later. So Naruto is going to be... Yeah, so he's gonna get training from Kurama on how to increase his speed, as well as that medical ninjutsu I was talking about earlier. It just kind of short circuits your nervous system. Makes it so it doesn't work right. So he's going to teach him that, as well as the fox summoning. Naruto is going to be the first fox summoner. Yeah, first. He's going to be the first fox summoner. So, yeah, after that, Naruto's going to be like... And he's going to spend a lot of time in the summoning realm, because he knows the reverse summoning as well. So he's gonna spend a lot of time there. Like, not all of his time, but like a good few hours of the day, that's where he spends his time. Like, that's where he trains, because he doesn't want people to see him training. And the foxes are gonna help him learn how to do so. Also, remember when I said, yeah, Kurama knows that that his chakra isn't distributed evenly. And that'll come into play later. So yeah, Naruto is also going to be immune to genjutsu. Why? Because Because he's going to be a sly fox. Foxes are very difficult to trick. So, like, I'm just going to make him immune. He's also going to cuss. And he's also going to be taught seals. He's going to be taught how to use seals, the fox summoning, some fox jutsu, as well as how to use a kama, the weapon. Kama. Look it up. It's essentially, yeah, it's a pretty cool weapon. But yeah, let me go to some of the stuff he's gonna learn. So yeah, Naruto is going to learn. One of the other things he's gonna learn is that foxes are gonna teach him one of their 2 genjutsus. Foxes are pretty tricky, so I'd assume they have some form of genjutsu. It's called fox cuddle. It's where you're being covered up by hundreds and hundreds of foxes, and then they're just cuddling you. And it'll just make anybody happy. It's like this soft, silky fur. But that's... And they're going to teach him another one later on, but they're going to teach him more genjutsu later, but that's all they're going to teach him now. But they will teach him 2 of their ninjutsu. Flame hands, where you essentially just turn your hands into fire, and Fire Dome, which is kind of like the Hyuga's palm rotation, or the the dome that they make, as well as the 3 fox jutsu, as well as 2 of the fox taijutsus, which is a defensive and a neutral type. There are 3: offensive, defensive, and neutral. He's gonna learn defensive and neutral. Defensive requires blocking and it's all technically one taijutsu style, but they interlock so you can learn them independently, and then you can switch between them in a fly because it's 3 different stances. But the defensive, it's ducking, dodging, blocking, and then there's going to be neutral. That's striking and defending and counterattacks, and and then there's offensive, which is striking, hitting, kicking, and each of these are they're very powerful taijutsu styles, and but because it takes a second to switch in between them. So you have to go from offensive to neutral to defensive, or neutral to offensive to neutral to defensive. It's kind of like a switch. And if you don't have neutral, you can't switch between offensive and defensive quickly. You can, but it takes longer. Just because neutral, only a few seconds longer, but it takes a second longer, but that second's important. Yeah, he's gonna learn Fire Dome and Flame Hands. The foxes, they use a lot of fire jutsu. They can there are 2 types of they also have what they call their tail jutsus. There's fire, wind, water, earth, and lightning tails. And that's essentially where you just have a tail made out of that element just sprout out of your rear end and just whack someone with it. It's about it's as long as you are tall. And then there's but that just but not all of the foxes can learn them. All of the foxes have fire, but a lot of them also have other elements they can use. Just because the foxes are really tricky, and I just want to do it like that. So yeah, that's kind of some of the stuff he's learned from the foxes. And when he turns 7, when he turns 7, as a birthday gift, I guess you could say, he is going to be given the fox claws, which are essentially a special type of kama. The weapon, not the grammar thing. Kama, K-M-A. It's essentially just It's essentially just kama, but you can light them on fire without using chakra. That's essentially what it is. They also don't dull. It's always razor sharp, except for a few inches right where the handle meets the blade, which is just dull, and you use that for grabbing others' blades. If you just look up what a kama looks like, you'll see what I'm talking about. Maybe. It's essentially a small scythe. If you take the Grim Reaper's scythe and take a buzzsaw to it, that's what it is. That's the only way I can describe it, if you don't know what I'm talking about. So, after that, I'd say that... Yeah. Okay, everyone take a drink of water. just so you guys know, Fire Dome, it works by essentially using the palm rotation that the Hyugas use, but it uses fire hands while doing so. And after that, I'd say that, and they also help him with his chakra control immensely. Like, he has Sakura levels of chakra control. Like, he has good chakra control. You know, and then, so after that, I'd say that. When does the academy start? It's when they're 8. So yeah, so the academy starts at 8. So yeah, so 8, 8 years old. At 8 years old is when he gets the fox blades or the fox claws or whatever they were called. Like, you know. And he is also going to be taught what I am dubbing the steel claw. Is essentially where his fingernails grow a few inches and they harden to steel. He doesn't use it very much, but he can. But, it's something that's quite useful. Like, he prefers to use his kama or his fist, but he's like, this could be really useful. Like, yeah. So he's gonna be like, hey, that's pretty useful. So yeah, he goes to the academy. He is not gonna be the dead last. He's not gonna be. Kurama's gonna be like, hey, don't pretend to be dead last, but like, don't try to be the greatest. It's like that'll draw attention to you, and being the dead last will draw attention to you. We both just want to be neutral. Like, don't, good. Kurama, he raises Naruto kind of like his own son. And that's how that's going to be. So, yeah. After that, I'd say that, After that, So yeah, Naruto, he does decent in the academy. He passes all his classes. Not by much, but he passes all his classes just fine. Like, I'd say the only one who, I'd say he's friends with, why can I not remember? What was his name? Shikamaru Nara, yeah. Yeah, he and Choji are gonna be friends. Choji, and Naruto are gonna be friends. So, yeah. And I'd say that Hinata doesn't like Naruto in this one. I'd say that she likes Sasuke. No, I'm not gonna make her like Sasuke. I'd say she likes, just some unimportant person. I'd say, I don't know. I'd say that she likes, Sakura. No, no, I'm not gonna do that. No, I ain't going, oh, no, I ain't doing that. Unless you guys really want me to, in which case I could. But yeah. I'd say that Hinata likes... Yeah. I'd say that she likes... She likes... Thinking of it, maybe Shino. Aburimo... Shino. So yeah, she's gonna like Shino. For whatever reason, I don't know. Gonna do that. So yeah, she likes Shino, I guess. So Naruto is going to like... He's not gonna like Sakura, but he is going to like... 10 maybe? No. Maybe... So I'm gonna make it so... Gonna make it so she likes... Naruto doesn't like anyone important. Hinata doesn't like anyone important. Alright? It's not gonna play a big role on the story. Or at least not yet. So, Naruto is gonna like... He's not gonna stick out. He's not gonna be the dead last. But he's not gonna be the best. So, after that, I keep saying after that. You know, everyone... Yep. So, take a sip of water. So, yeah, and he's able to get away from the villagers every time now. Like a tuning, or like a ninja might be able to keep up with him for a little while, but then he'll just give him a fox cuddle. Because fox cuddle, it doesn't cause pain or anything. It just like it's just pleasant. So it's kind of difficult to like break out of. Like it just makes the person feel good, all warm and fuzzy inside. So it just kind of makes them feel like that. Just being surrounded by 100 little foxes. Yeah, just being surrounded by a bunch of different foxes, and like that's gonna happen. So Naruto, he also spends a lot of time in the forest of death. It's like, and most of the animals, they're like, and a lot of the animals will just leave him alone, because like they'll you know, it's like the genjutsu doesn't really work on the animals, but the fire hands and fire dome and his newly, as well as firebolt, definitely do. Firebolt is something he also learned. Like, I'm gonna reveal this stuff as he uses them. So like yeah, firebolt he's gonna use on a few of them that get a bit too excited. Flame hands, he'll just get like, hey, back up. Fire dome, like, hey, get away from me. Firebolt is, okay, now I'm gonna hurt you. Like, the genjutsu doesn't work on him, or at least the one he knows, because like, it's being cuddled by a bunch of foxes. Why would an animal like that? Like, it only works on humans. Now the other genjutsu he's going to learn will. So like yeah. So yeah. So I'm just gonna fast forward to like everything still happens same at home. He gets hurt and abused, like all that. So yeah. After that, I'm gonna skip to where they are all 12. gonna skip to where they're all 12. And this is doing like Naruto. He skips out on the taijutsu classes because like he already has a style. Like the, you know, and he technically has three styles, but they go together really well. So it's kind of just one. So like yeah, and it is summed up as being called Fox Taijutsu, which it is very bestial in nature. It's very sly and tricky to fight against, but it's also bestial. It's like, yeah, that's how that's gonna be. Naruto is gonna, like, so he's gonna do really well on the. He's gonna get 10. He's gonna get 10 out of 10 on Shuriken, 9 out of 10 on Kunai. Um, he he's gonna do pretty well on the written test. He like this is where he really shows some of the stuff he knows. Like, so, like, so, and he and Kurama are on really good terms. Like, they're on war arc terms right now. Like, war arc, Naruto, Kurama, that's the kind of connection they have here. Like, it's different. It's not like that, but it's that kind of close connection. So after that, I'd say that Naruto's gonna be like, alright. So goes off into the room. He's gonna, and Naruto is going to use. He's not gonna know shadow clones, but he is going to learn the blue fire clone. Like the foxes are gonna teach him blue fire clone. It's like, and the clone is just gonna grab a leaf, and it's instantly gonna, and it's just gonna turn to ash. It's like, they can feel that this, like, from a bit of a distance, you can't feel the heat, but like the heat is really condensed, like into one little area surrounding the clone. So like getting touched by this thing is bad. So then on to the taijutsu test. Like, Naruto stays for the tests that he for taijutsu, but like, and he absolutely dunks on the guy giving the test. So it's like, who? Yeah. It's like, and he's using neutral style. He's using neutral fox taijutsu for this. And just so you guys know, fox taijutsu, the user is quite close to the ground while using it. He also knows how to walk up. He also knows tree walking and water walking. In fact, he actually knows waterfall climbing. Yeah, he can climb waterfalls. That's the extent his chakra control's at right now. Like, it is high Jonin, I'd say, levels of chakra control. Like, almost Kage level of chakra control. So yeah, after that, I'd say that Naruto's gonna be like, he is gonna dunk on the guy. Like, Aruka? No, whoever was doing that. Aruka's assistant, the class assistant, he's the one doing the testing. So he gets absolutely dunked on. And I was going like, it is a really weird style. Cause like, it'll look like, cause like it looks like he's coming in for a right punch, but then he goes right past you and delivers a left kick to the back, and then kicks the back of your leg. Like, that's the kind of stuff we're talking about. He'll go in for a drop kick. He'll, right before he hits you, he'll put his hands down on the ground, stopping himself, flips, and just hammer fists your shoulders. There's a lot of deception involved in this style. and no one knows what you're gonna do next when you're using this. 'Cause, like the Sharing, I think the Mangekyo Sharingan is the only, like the Sharingan, like a Jonin might be able to see what you're doing, but they can't predict what you're doing. Like it's just such a tricky thing to fight against. Like Hyuga's would even have trouble fighting against this taijutsu style. It's like this is a very weird and wonky style. It's so tricky and like it's so weird to fight against. It's so so like yeah, and so yeah, he's gonna do well on the substitution. He's gonna do extremely well on the clone, and I'd say for the transformation he does the normal transformation. He just turns into Aruka, I'll say. He turns into Aruka. Yeah, he turns into Aruka. But, yeah. No, he turns into just an undescript person. Like, you can't describe what they look like. It just because of the way they look like. They can't be described. It's like their face isn't covered, but you can't remember what their face looks like. They didn't have their skin covered, but you can't remember what skin color they were. You don't remember what their hair color was. Just it's so weird. You can't remember what this person looks like. It's almost it's pretty much impossible to describe what he looks like. That's the only way I can say it. And his features are slowly changing the entire time, just in case. But his skin color slowly changes from a white to I'd say a caramel maybe, and to a caramel to a red, and from a red to a black, and from a black to a white. And when I'm saying, yeah, so like his nose will change shape slowly but constantly. The color of their hair, the style and color is constantly slowly changing. Same for the outfit they're wearing. It just so like you can't describe what this person looks like. You know, the only way you could describe them is undescribable. They're impressed with the fact that he's able to just create this so yeah. And could you perform my jutsu of your own? And he says, sure. And then he does, do we have some space I could use? And then it uses a lot of space. And then he casts blue fireball. And this just blue inferno comes out, and it is large. So yeah. And they're like, oh, you passed Naruto. Like, just give him the headband. I'll go to that room. I'll be there later, after I'm done with the other tests. So yeah. So yeah. So Aki and Miku are gonna be like, how did that loser get in here? Like, people still call him a loser, but like, he's not the dead last. But they still call him a loser. Cause like, you understand, right? Yeah. That's how that works. So Naruto's gonna be like, ooh, so, and Naruto's just gonna tell him to go F himself, like, And he hasn't. What I've said so far, that's the only thing he's ever used outside of the summoning world. Everything else he does in the summoning world. The training he does, summoning world. He wears weights. Like, not Lee weights, but like, he wears weights. But no, he wears gravity seals. Yeah, one of the foxes was capable of using seals, and you put gravity seals on Naruto. But they're so yeah, he put resistance seals, and once he got used to that, he put in gravity seals. Gravity seals increases the weight by using chakra, and resistance makes it so your muscles don't. It makes it so your muscles kind of work against each other, so they get stronger. It's kind of like a resistance band when you're doing that. But for everything you do, that's what it's like. And gravity seals, they just increase your weight, like double, triple, quadruple. Like, so yeah, like it increases by 0.5, by 2, by 3, by 4, by 5. You know, level 1 increases it by 0.5.